Hi Aries, welcome to your mid-August 2018 tarot update. It's Raina here. Just shuffling the, I was going to say Morgan Grid deck. Actually, it's the Wild Unknown Tarot. I use these once in a while. This is a simple 5-card spread. Wow! Yellow. This is pretty intense. Aries. Which one is this for? Okay. Let me think of what is going on here. Whoa. Pretty intense cards here. Of course, this is a general reading, so it may not apply to all of you, but the heart of the matter is the Tower card. And the Tower card can indicate some kind of sudden event that kind of shakes things up. With a sign like yours, however, you're not the type of person to not do something that you feel called to do. So I don't think that it will be something that you've kind of neglected to do so much as perhaps maybe it's love at first sight. Maybe it's something positive. There's a couple of cards that are surrounding this Tower card that I was really kind of responding to, not the Tower itself. I've kind of like made peace with the Tower card in a lot of ways. Because I feel like it can break open something that has been meaning to, or needing to get broken open. Like if you have been, if somebody's been neglecting to take action on something, the universe may take action on their behalf. If somebody got really like upset with me for saying that, you know, in the past for another sign, and I don't know exactly why they got so upset. I assume it's because maybe they were procrastinating on something and they're afraid that something's going to come about in that area. And I kind of, by mentioning that, I got them all freaked out and everything. But that's just reality, isn't it? So if a person is refusing to do something, yeah, I mean, usually something's going to happen regardless, and it's a lot less controllable because you're not participating in it. But it's that I'm not saying that as a warning. I'm just saying that the Tower can be a good thing because it can clear the air and it can make room for actual growth instead of stagnation, which is occurring up until that point. But I don't see Aries as that type of person. You're very forward moving, so you're not the type of person to procrastinate. If you don't want to do something, you're not going to do it, but it's not like something that you have to do that you're just putting off. I don't see a lot of Aries people being like that. Unless it's something you just don't want to do that you have to do. But let me just keep going. In the past position, this could be informing. You know, that's why I was kind of gasping, because I got a couple of the cards that I would associate with relationships, and they're both look right between the eyes, or within the eye sockets. This is one of those cards that I laugh at in this Wild Unknown Tarot deck because it's so pretty gruesome. And the Ten of Swords is the card of betrayal. Okay, so and I'll just, while I'm at it, I'll just talk about the present influence. That was the past influence, and this is the present influence. The Three of Swords, which is another card of those cards of, it looks like blood, you know, dripping from the bottom, because it's like feeling that sense of rejection, feeling that sense of like the loss. Okay, and the 10 is the end of the cycle, so it's showing an ending that is coming about as a result of some sort of betrayal. And then the aftermath of that is the Three of Swords, which is that sense of rejection. Okay, so it's possible. Remember, this is a general reading, but I'll give you an example. You walk in on your partner and they're cheating on you, and that's the shock, and you realize that it's all over with. But with the Ten of Swords being in the past position, this is probably something that has already happened. So I'm not saying that these things are happening in the future. I think that you may have been betrayed by somebody, if this applies to you, and you're feeling that sense of rejection. You're identifying your experience as being a form of rejection. And I would urge you not to think of it that way, because it's somebody else's choice, and they may have made the choice for a very superficial reason. They may have had a good reason, but they may not have. So it's not about using that as an opportunity to feel bad about yourself. The other thing about these Swords cards, Swords relate to thought and conflict, okay? So they also relate to air signs. So this might be somebody who is the opposite sign of yours is Libra, or we could be talking about a Gemini or an Aquarius. And the problem, well, I shouldn't say problem, but if it is an air sign individual, or they have a prominent, maybe it's like the moon sign, they can have a personality that isn't like overtly emotional. So they are kind of like sometimes the ones who are capable of going into a new relationship without much fanfare, without feeling sentimental. And other people will hold on to relationships that they know are over way longer than they should, just because they are thinking of the good times. So they're that's a form of sentimentality. But in your case, you're very forward-looking. And so you kind of represent the type of person that would look ahead. This other person may be the same way, and they may think, hey, you know, if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, and they are just kind of treating a breakup like it's no big deal. But it may be a bigger deal to you than it is for them, and they may not be able to understand why that is. It's really not anyone's responsibility to make you see something, but by the same token, you don't need to have any kind of validation when it comes to this particular experience. If you feel like you were rejected by somebody in favor of another person, and it felt very humiliating and just upsetting, understand that people sometimes are looking for a certain thing that another person can't give them. And it may not be, now some people might say, yeah, well, what about if I'm in my 50s and my husband leaves me for a woman in her 30s? Now try to spin it in a positive way. And it's obvious it's just because she's that age. She's 20 years younger. Well, that could be what it is, but that does not say that there's anything wrong with you. There might be something wrong with the mentality that somebody would leave somebody else because they're younger. That's what we should be looking at, not what you're feeling about yourself. The Three of Swords can be feeling like unloved, and, you know, feeling that sting of rejection. And you can only feel that if you you know, draw the conclusion that that's what's going on and why this is happening to you. And that's problematic when people think like that, because they end up with that kind of outcome. And it's something that they don't want. So why have something you don't want? You know, it doesn't make any sense. So we're looking at that, and now what is coming in is represented by the Mother of Wands. This is the Queen of Wands. I think this is like a boost to your self-esteem, Aries. The Queen of Wands is a feminine, more of a masculine energy combined with the feminine of the Queen. And this is, I think it's associated with Sagittarius, but I would just say fire energy in general. But with the Queen, it's in the mood department. It's like the inner work that you're doing about having self-confidence. Usually Aries people are very self-confident, you know. Sometimes Aries people, when they feel like they're not number one, which is what we're talking about with this particular situation, it can lead to some negative traits that we associate with Aries, such as competitiveness and anger and things like that. Aggressive tendencies, bullying tendencies. But in general, you are a sign that is very strong and confident and forward-looking. You're not mired in the past. And so this is kind of like having an injection of confidence for some reason. This could be like an older female business type of woman or a career type of woman who helps you out. By the way, I didn't give the scenario of somebody who has lost their job. Now again, this would be something that has already happened. This is not a prediction for the future. So you will know as you listen to this whether it's true for you or not. But if you did lose your job and you feel like it was unfair how you lost your job, like you were metaphorically stabbed in the back, do not allow yourself to go into that state of the Three of Swords, of feeling that sense of rejection, because that is not what really happened. It looks that way, but it's not what really happened. What really happened was that you were dealing with a toxic environment, obviously. You're dealing with underhanded people, and that never ends well. So you can't look back and say, what could I have done, and stuff like that. If somebody just out of the blue fires you, lays you off, whatever you want to call it, or simply cuts your hours, and it's enough to be devastating to your budget and things like that, the best thing you can do is to, in addition to looking for work every day, is to take time in nature and meditate and reconnect with your spirit if you need to. Because just trying to go through the motions will probably not lead to anything constructive. And with this card, the Three of Swords, you may feel this sense of dejection from a situation, but the Mother of Wands, whether this is another person, maybe this is like a mentor at work who is, if this is a new business, a new place you're working, is a much more supportive environment. Because it's interesting that they use Mother instead of Queen in this deck, because they want to show that nurturing energy. And so the Mother of Wands is definitely a career woman, but she also has the nurturing touch. The outcome is the Four of Wands, and this is a card of family, harmony, joy, happiness. This could be a new home. For those of you who have left a marriage, maybe abruptly, you could be moving into a new place. You could be feeling a sense of relief now, even if there was a shock represented by the Tower card, like a suddenness of a situation. You may be feeling a sense of happiness because you found the place where you belong. And it may feel so good just to have that nest to go to when you're done with your day, your work day. And maybe it's given you a new appreciation for domestic bliss, Aries. This can also mean meeting somebody who is more marriage material, is more somebody that you could see the rest of your life with. It might be a fire sign. There's always that possibility, either sun, moon, or rising. So we're talking about fellow Aries or Leo or Sagittarius. And they will tend, you can't, I'm sure most people aren't going to say, can I see your chart, like on the first date? But once you get to know them, you may discover that they have a prominent fire presence in their chart. And that might make you very happy because you would be on the same page. You'd really have the same basic personality, and so you'd understand each other. I think a lot of people misunderstand those of us who are fire signs. I'm a Sagittarian. They think, oh, they're rude when we're blunt. And some of us are very straightforward in our speech, but we try to be diplomatic, and people still think it's just too direct. And they want a little bit of hemming and hawing. And they're not going to get it from most fire signs. We're just too straightforward for that. And it bothers certain people. That's just one example. But it's a very good card to end the reading if you're looking for a permanent partner or if you're looking for a new place to live. In terms of some of these other cards, yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't think this Tower is in the future. I think it's something that you're dealing with in the aftermath of that. And you may find that change is coming, but it might be a little bit more of a mellow month with only one major arcana card. Okay, that's what I have for you, Aries. If you'd like a private reading, please click on the link below. My website is ReinaMoonAstrology.com. Take care. Bye. Whoa.